Hey there, I visited Retro Messa, a video game convention that's held in Sandeford, Norway this past August. The convention features many stalls selling retro games that you can purchase, retro machines you can play, panels with legendary video game industry guests, including for the first time Takuya Imura, who you may know as one of the character designers behind many Nintendo classics like Star Fox, The Legend of Zelda Majora's Mask and F-Zero. Stay tuned for a short segment of his panel later on in the video. For Nintendo fans, special guests David Wise, Grant Kirkhope and Kevin Bayliss attended, who you may know from their work working on GoldenEye, Donkey Kong Country, Star Fox Adventures and many more back in the Super Nintendo and N64 days. They were there to meet up with the fans and they even put on a bit of a concert, more on that later. Now, talking about video games, there were a lot here. I enjoyed walking around just picking up games I'd never even heard of, to be honest. Price wise, pretty reasonable if you're after cartridges. I bought a couple for £5 each, which I was happy with, but if you're looking to buy games in boxes, mint condition even, you're looking at spending quite a bit of money here. Some of these games are over 30 years old, so they do definitely command a higher price. Now, Nintendo was more dominant in Norway in the 90s, so I didn't really see many Sega games, which is what I kind of grew up with, Nintendo and Sega really. But there was definitely some Sega games there. One thing I did notice though, over previous years of attending Retro Messa, was a lot more PlayStation 2 games. There were a lot of those around. And also systems like the Nintendo Wii U, which doesn't really feel retro to me, but there are a lot of those around. And even systems like Xbox 360, which again, it's a 20-year-old console, so it is becoming retro these days. But it was a really good opportunity to purchase some of these games before the prices go too high in 5-10 more years. The event itself was packed on the Saturday. It was very busy, and thankfully could go over to the panels and chill out there for a couple of hours listening to some of the developers talk, before coming back in the afternoon when it had quietened down a bit easier to get around, have a better look around, and even play some of the games that are available. It's always fun looking at the cabinets full of some of the game collections here as well. These are set up by the organisers, and there were quite a few of these. Final Fantasy, we had some World of Warcraft here, even Donkey Kong get its own section as well. Now, if you wanted to take a break, you could head over to the retro section, and here there were many different computers and consoles all set up, from the Commodore 64 and the Amiga to gaming consoles like the Sega Saturn and Sony PlayStation. They were all here set up with a game already, so it was pretty easy. Just pick a joypad or joystick up and play for a few minutes and maybe reminisce about the past.
F0 の流れでもうちょっとかっこいいパイロットとか考えてたんですけど、突然宮本さんが動物にしてって言ってきて、動物にせえへんって言うかな。
Yeah, so I remember very much because we had to, as we had done Captain Falcon for F-Zero, we figured that we should have pilots that looked cool. Then I was talking with Miyamoto, he just said, well, let's do animals. So, why not animals?
で、その場で分かりましたって言ったんですけど、心の中ではと思ってました。
And I said, yeah, sure. But inside me, I felt like, what?
Did that change any design aspects of the game, that it wasn't humans, it was
なんかゲームの全体的ななんかねデザインがその理由で変わったんですかね。
いや、キャラクターは多分違いますね。
No, I don't think so.
How did you decide on the personalities as well and integrating that into the game? Do you think it would have been quite plain without any of the characters or animals?
まあ、スターフォックスの中のキャラクターでそれぞれ性格があって、行動の仕方も違ってくると思いますけど、例えばそれがなかったらゲームが変わったんですかね。パイロットに性格がなかったら。
キャラクターは宮本さんが主人公は狐にしようって言ったんです。まあそれ有名な話ですけど、任天堂の近くに伏見稲荷っていう狐を祀る有名なね、神社があったっていうのがまず。
Yeah, the one who decided, it was Miyamoto who decided that we should have a fox. That's one of the reasons is that pretty close to Nintendo's headquarters is a very famous thing. There is the Fushimi Inari Taisha. It's one of the largest shrines in Japan, and it's dedicated to the fox. So that's why we used fox as the main character.
それで、あとはウサギとペンギンかなみたいなことをおっしゃったんですよ。
And then he said that maybe we should have a rabbit and maybe a penguin.
ペンギンとかもペンギンって思ったの。
And I was like, what? A penguin? That's a bit weird.
で、僕がっていうか、まあ日本のスタイルで鳥獣戯画っていうね、こう動物をモチーフした昔の絵があるんですよ。そこにはウサギとかキジとかあとカエルとか出てくる。まあ、そこから。
Yeah, so instead we decided to go for a Japanese style. There is these the things that were supposed to be the ground for Japanese comics way back, hundreds of years back. They were drawings called Choju Giga, which meant that animals and birds at play, and they had like cranes and they had rabbits and it's even frogs, usually doing a lot of humanoid stuff. So we just took inspiration from them instead of a penguin.
and our drummer, Mr. Nigel Atkins.
Well, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. I had a really good time at Retro Messa this year. There were a lot of other things that I just didn't take footage of, to be fair. But there was a lot more to do this year than I was expecting. Definitely recommend going. And if you are after some of those old classic games, take a little bit of money with you as well. Start saving. Take care. Thanks for watching.